Good afternoon, everybody. We're starting another episode of Welcome to our Kung Fu Talk, and we are here this morning, this afternoon, with two excellent, exceptional martial artists. So before starting the show, please like, subscribe, comment, so we can help the engagement of our videos into YouTube and Spotify. We'll be on Spotify as well, so make sure to listen over there in case if you don't want to watch you're more than welcome to listen. So I want to introduce you guys to Sifu Dennis Wood. Sifu, how are you? Which my Qigong, and Sifu Dennis Tobias from Australia. So we have three people here from different locations: San Francisco, Australia, and Los Angeles, California. So how are you guys doing today?
Fantastic.
Very well, thanks, Sifu Ronald. Awesome.
So I want to talk today a little bit about Hakka Kung Fu and White Tiger system, Bak Mei system. Let's see where we can get to. The first question is, Sifu Dennis, could you share how you began your Kung Fu journey and what led you to train under Grandmaster Doo Wai? And for Sifu Dane, how it led you to this lineage. Of course, now we're training under the guidance of Dennis Wood. So we'd like to know a little bit about your story, how you got to there, and yeah.
Well, for me, it was fairly simple. I have two older brothers, and pretty much anything they did, my mom was like, take your brother with you. So it was fairly simple in that sense that we started training, and my brothers were very big into karate. In the 80s. So we were doing Kempo, Kyokushin, Shotokan, and, just training a bunch. They were both held black belts at Tom was, I think, maybe a third or fourth degree black belt in Kempo. And so, that's what we started with. My brother, Tom, started a black belt club in San Diego. And, he started gathering all these different martial artists together to cross train. And one of the people that came in had made mention of training with this, legendary Grandmaster that had, incredible skills and just an incredible knowledge base and a way about him and a way of teaching that, really translated well. And my brother sought him out, and that was a wrap. You meet Grandmaster Doo Wai one time, and that's all you need to do. The guy has I don't know what else to say about him. He's the most phenomenal martial artist and human being I've ever met, and you can tell it right off the bat. His willingness to give you the information but teach you in the correct way, to see it, to feel the utilization of Bak Fu Pai. It's a highly applicable art. It's a complete art, right? In the sense that it has the Dita Jiaos and the healing remedies and the Qigong and the meditation for self-healing, and then you have the martial destructive side of it, the forms, the fighting applications, the techniques, and so on. So, and started training with Grandmaster. I might have been 9 or 10 years old, somewhere right around there. So a long journey, long journey.
Fantastic.
I think we ended up, let's see. So we opened our first school under the tutelage and guidance of Grandmaster Doo Wai in probably 1993. That school is down in San Diego. So that was the first location we ever opened. And my eldest brother, Joel, still runs that academy down there. And, he's branched off and has several other academies and, instructors. And we're up in Los Angeles. We opened this location in probably 2003. So we're just over 20 years in this location as well. And this is so Qigong Tom Rizzo and myself, we've been running this academy for over 20 years.
Awesome. How awesome. Hey, so good.
Yeah, and we had, almost a year ago now, we had Sifu Dane come on in Australia. So he's our White Tiger affiliate. He's our representative in Australia. And happy to have him aboard. Just a phenomenal martial artist. So,
thank you, Sifu,
and a good human being.
Thank you so much. Likewise. So my journey too. Like I started judo as a kid, like 4 years old, with my father. And then my fascination with Kung Fu just grew by watching martial art movies all my life, Dragon Ball Z, Jet Li, Jackie Chan, my whole life from the age of 4 years old, I was fascinated with martial arts. And then I think it was like 2011, it might have been, where my master was working in a restaurant. I was highly stressed and I was running long hours and an angry chef, a bit overweight. And my one of the head waiters, Angelo Kaiaklori, Shishin Yin, I didn't realise at the time he was a high-level Shaolin master. And he one day came to me and said, you'd got to start training with me. And I just didn't really question what he did. I ended up going to his house, and he was actually a 32nd generation disciple outside of the Shaolin Temple in 3 amazing systems underneath a branch called the Chao Tong. So I taught the Shaolin Temple boxing, the White Crane, and the Mizong Chanfan system. So I ended up being his student for 8 years, intense training. And then since a lot of the knowledge from the Shaolin Temple, that his masters were invited there in 1988 to go underground to preserve a lot of the systems that were privately taught when the new government took over back then. So a lot of the systems weren't going to be lost. So I was taught by him, and then Shurda Young, the Grandmaster, come to Australia. I'd done some seminars with him, and then I had a fascination with Bak Fu Pai along those years, and my background was from Angelo Kaiaklori training me and pushing me to who I am today. And then I was gifted enough to come along the traps of Sifu Dennis Wood, my Sifu, and then he took me underneath his wing and brought me into the world of Grandmaster Doo Wai, which I've studied for many, many years through the link of the temple. And I studied a lot about and watched a lot of Grandmaster Sigung Doo Wai's material, and just couldn't believe how powerful and how intriguing he was. And then to have someone that's so close as the next Sigungs, like Sigung Tom Rizzo and Sifu Dennis Wood, the next masters of that generation to preserve, I couldn't think of a better place to surround myself with such a great energy. So I thank you, Sifu Dennis, a lot. And this is only the beginning with the White Tiger School within Australia and worldwide. So I'm super blessed and proud to be a part of this, to grow these arts. So, yeah. And now it's just, it seems like it's my first day. Every day I wake up. So, I'm here to learn and to progress.
Same.
It's such a beautiful art, and then I'm very happy to be interviewing 2 great martial artists and Sifu Dennis, which have been training under the guidance of Grandmaster, directly under the Grandmaster Doo Wai. So we're talking about someone who lived with him, who been with him for such long time, years and years. We're talking about decades, practice with this legend that we hear about, that we heard about. We see stories, we see pictures, videos of him, and it's incredible that every time we hear something about him, it's phenomenal. It's really nice to be sharing this knowledge with those that unfortunately didn't have the opportunity to practice or never heard about him. So now we give the opportunity to actually spread a little bit this art about the Bak Fu Pai, about the Bak Mei Pai, his system, how it was passed down through this lineage. It's very important to be sharing and to publish his work so his legacy can continue moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. We took Baishi oaths to him when we were young, and he took us on like sons, so my brothers and I, we've taken care of the Grandmaster for, since the late 80s, basically.
So how was, coming to the second question, how was training under the guidance of Grandmaster Doo Wai? Of course, I have 1,000 questions, we don't have time for that, but
sure.
Is there any memorable story that you can kind of share? How was the trainings? Was the old school Shaolin styles that we see in the movies, very tough into exercise conditioning? How was the training under him?
Well, I'll tell you, it was really interesting in the sense that all of our students were adults at that time. And I was a kid, so I was 10 to 13 years old, training with full grown adults. So it was very different, right? Sparring adults, it's a very different situation. And he's phenomenal. Watching him move, watching the way he put forms together, watching the power generation, the speed. It's just so impressive to be able to see him move, and then, trying to mimic that and, get as close as you can, and then having him break that stuff down for you and, really giving you the appropriate guidance and how to stack things together So you can move in a similar manner. Obviously we're different body types, so the way we execute things can still slightly be different. He's a smaller guy. He's not a big guy, and when he hits like a, I don't know, like a 250-pound man. He hits with such incredible force and energy. So yeah, I can tell you a story. So I trained with Grandmaster for a long time. Let's see, I think I was in the military when this happened, so maybe just coming out. So maybe I was in my mid 20s, early 20s, something like that. And, I had taken up other arts during that time. I wrestled in high school. I've done some Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I've done some boxing, some kickboxing, but still continuing to stay true to my roots in Bak Fu Pai and, training with Grandmaster and, teaching at the academies and everything. And, one day we were moving with each other and kind of like a sticky hands format, and I just asked him, I said, Sifu, some of the movements are so complex, right? I'm like, how are you going to do that with a less committed strike, something fast and precise like a jab, And he said, I don't know, kid, why don't you try it? And so I threw a jab at him as quick as I could, trying to hit him in the face, and man, he hyperextended my elbow so fast. So he executed a Soikyu against my elbow and basically applied the same leverage that you would apply in an arm bar, but in a striking format. He hyperextended my elbow, and it cost me, I don't know, almost 4 to 6 months of training. That's how bad he damaged my elbow. So, I earned it. I went at him as fast as I could. It's not like I didn't try to hit him. I did try to get him. So, the part that you need to understand as well is, I'm 6'2". I'm 210 pounds, and I'm fast, I'm athletic, and I'm snapping this jab at his face as quick as I can. I've got a lot of sparring and a lot of tournaments under my belt. I've fought a lot, and I really went after him with that shot, and I didn't even come close, and my elbow, damaged for the next 6 months. Relegated to just dita jiaoing my arm and trying to get back into some form of training. Working on my horse stances is what I got to do after that.
You never do that again to Sigu.
Yeah, well, I'm stubborn. I try on other occasions and tried with other things and, got myself hurt. But I think that's the cool thing too, is I do have these memories and the experiences with him and, being able to touch hands with him and move and feel that energy. And it's very different. It's very, very different. The first time you get to touch hands with somebody that's, I want to say light years ahead of where I was at that time as a practitioner, Yeah,
that's a strong word, and I can feel that with Sigu.
Yeah.
I feel that that energy with him is just blessing. We're very lucky. Well, I feel extremely lucky, let alone yourself, Sifu Dennis. Like, what an honor to be for us to be here to carry. Isn't this the word that he said to you, Sifu Dennis? Is he wants us to, or you and us, to spread the kung fu worldwide. He doesn't want to die. So it's important.
Yeah, absolutely. He doesn't want the art in the system to die off, you know what I mean, with him. So, he wants it to go forward and right now we're working on categorizing the art, and we're building it into an app format, right? So we'll have all, the lessons and the forms and the herbal remedies and the techniques and the drills and the lessons, and we'll have everything living in that space, and we'll keep taking that as far as we can. So
it's awesome. Very, very good.
That's amazing how I'm sure you have 1,000 stories to tell. Like I would love to be here listening. Of course, the time will tell us the opportunity. You give us the opportunity, but it's amazing. Like when you actually meet a real martial artist, you created a bond. Like if you really want to practice, right? And life will give us the opportunity to actually learn in every single moment, and it's amazing how you have a passion. I can see through your eyes, like when you're telling the stories, when you talk about the system. We're just going to discuss about the system as well. For those that doesn't understand, that doesn't know like what White Tiger Bak Fu Pai is, could you give us some background about it and the system origins and how it developed over the time, those that doesn't know about the system, like, you know, a little bit about the story, a little bit about what is it about, if you could compare for those that doesn't understand, like, you know, we do know a lot about it, but for those that never heard about it, the system is not like published like Honkyu or Cholify, Eagle Claw, BJJ, for example, that you've been practicing as well. Tell us a little bit about it. And first, Sifu Dane, I want him to explain a little bit after about the Bak Mei system.
Yeah. So the Bak Fu Pai system, you know, is something that comes from, you know, predates 1644 with the monk Feng Doduk. You know, as he was fleeing the temples, you know, he sought refuge in the Ome Mountains with the Doo family, and in return for you know, kind of keeping him housed and keeping him safe, he passed on the system to the Grandmaster, to the Doo Wai lineage, right, to the family lineage, and then that went on father to son for 6 generations until Grandmaster Doo Wai started taking on students, you know, so he started taking on people from the public, not within the family. So it was a family art passed from father to son. And then he, you know, opened it to the public. You know, we met him, you know, like I said, in the mid to later 80s, and started training with him from there on, you know, and really dedicated our lives to him and our art. And yeah, kind of went from there.
That's awesome. Well, the Bak Mei system, like it's a subsystem. So Grandmaster Doo Wai has a lot of different subsystems, as Sifu Dennis has told me. I'm very new to the art, and what I've done is I've really peeled back all the layers now and learning. I wanted to really learn the whole system of the Bak Fu Pai, because that is almost like, I call it the king of all systems that stem from what Sifu Dennis has just said. So everything underneath the umbrella are just branches of subsystems, and there's a lot of the subsystems. And the thing is, what I've been taught within that Bak Mei is a smaller subsystem of Bak Mei. And I, you know, obviously there's a few different types of systems within the family that I've heard of, but there's a lot of talk within the world of, you know, people want to know everything about Grandmaster Doo Wai, and people are intrigued, and what is this, what is that? But a lot of it's just like, you know, a talk and chatter, you know. It's part of the pie, and working their way proper with a good attitude and respect to the family. That's what I've done now. Is I've got a few people that want to learn Bak Mei, but really the biggest thing and the biggest picture is learning the whole system of Bak Fu Pai. And then whatever comes from that, if you've earned your stripes, you understand that whole concept of the Bak Fu Pai syllabus and system, then you have the opportunity to learn I'm not quite sure, maybe, yeah, the Bak Mei shorthand set system. That's pretty much all that is. Yeah. And the way it's been taught, it might have not been taught correctly to me, but who knows what's correct and what's not correct. So, you know, but I enjoy doing it regardless, and that's what's helped me through my journey, which is the Bak Mei. And then the Bak Fu Pai's energy, that is just different compared to the Bak Mei energy. The Bak Fu Pai energy, there's so much more Fao Chum Pung Tol, rise, fall, expanding and contracting. There's energies within our system which you have meditations which just lead these energies to areas that are unseen, if that makes sense. So when I'm actually performing a form and I learn a form or a set, it doesn't feel like my hands actually approach those areas. It feels like my mind is already there before my hands there, so you can never catch up with where your hands are at. And I find it fascinating with the Bak Fu Pai system. It's something that I've never studied in any martial art on the planet that has this wholesome of energies that are.
It's definitely a complete martial arts system, like in the sense of, you know, like we talked about earlier, having the health and healing side of it, and then also having the martial side of it, you know, and, you know, obviously the lineage that it comes with as well. But to touch on that is, like, you have the physical manifestation of energy, right? Like you have the kinetic energy that you're developing off every time you throw a strike. And then there's the utilization of the body mechanics to enhance that external manifestation of energy within that strike, right? That creating those kinetic links, driving that kinetic energy, right? And that's where that power is delivered into the strike. And then you have the meditation and the internal cultivation of the internal energy as well.
And by opening all those up, all your hips, your limbs, your body correctly, so then your energy is able to escape in those areas and then be able to be stopped as well. You got the looking and bucking, all those kind of things that we talk about, or the Fao Chum Tung Tong, So all those 8 manifestations have to be in line to understand the proper alignment. So, but going back to the healing side, it's like cooking as well. It's the teas, it's the formulas, it's the not over eating, it's training properly, it's like even when you're training long hours, you got to kind of keep up on your starch levels and stuff when you're eating. You don't go and consume a huge meal over a 4-hour training session, but you still have to have a boiled potato or some type of food to fuel your system. A lot of people have all these formulas and powders and all this stuff. I've never had that in my life. Maybe I might if I compete, but I know that the world's got everything you need within the gardens and the earth, and within the herbs and the formula. So
that's really true.
And it's even like people say, there's all the monks and all the Buddhists, the vegans. Well, when they need meat, they used to go hunting, so they did used to consume meat, for their body. So will tell you when you need something, so don't overthink when you train. If you feel like you need it, get it for a reason. You're not going to pack on kilos, but you're going to pack on extra. You're going to enhance your training and your muscle mass by listening to your body.
Absolutely.
What fascinated me about this system, it's beautiful how from the regions, from the 5 elders to nowadays, we still have the connection between Bak Mei and Fondao Duk, the Bak Fu Pai. Some of the forms that I see Sifu Dane, so I apologize, performing on Instagram, on YouTube, you see that sometimes they have the same name, but it's different, the perception and some adjustment from the Bak Fu Pai lineage through the Bak Mei lineage. And I never see any other art that actually connects to each other, like the Bak Mei and the Bak Fu Pai. I've seen Wing Chun, some movements from.
Wing Chun has a lot of similarities as well. So Wing Chun is also a sister system to Bak Fu Pai. It's a smaller system, right? So they've got two probably hand forms, probably 1 or 2 wooden dummy forms, and then a weapons form, right? So it's just a smaller system. But yeah, there's a lot of similarities in nomenclature and execution of technique as well. I would say that their methodologies are slightly different. They're a little bit more ambidextrous in the way that they approach things. So when you do Wing Chun, you kind of will do things on both sides. Bak Fu Pai is a left foot dominant system. So even if you feel like you're a natural southpaw, 90% of our art is done from the left foot forward position. So you can transition right foot forward, but it's literally just that. It's a transition.
Yeah. Awesome.
Go ahead, Sifu. Go ahead.
Yeah. What else do you guys want to
know? No, yeah. I thought Sifu Dane.
Oh, got
something. Yeah, sorry about that. No, that's amazing. Like something that I didn't realize was about the left foot. Was like, now that I was thinking about the forms, like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, that's how it works. That's really great. Yeah, when I was talking about the similarity, like even the form, like I've seen like on YouTube, of course, presentations on Wing Chun and different lineages and Bai Hikyu with the Fujian white crane. Even the names of the movements are the same, but when I talk about the connection between, in my perspective, of course, I feel that the connection between Bak Fu Pai and Bak Mei, it's more like it seems more like really, really deep into connected than other systems. Even the forms are some of the forms are very like has even the same names. It's just some applications, some movements are a little bit different, and that's when you see like, wow, that's incredible to see the connection of two arts that have been developed almost for 150 years back then, and it's still alive, and still passing down.
Yeah, I think it's what it comes down to, who your instructor is and what their knowledge is and what the understanding is of the complete system. And that's what we've got in the Bak Fu Pai. We've got Sifus there that have the knowledge of a complete system, and they understand that. And you can go and learn white crane, you can go and learn this, but they all kind of have these little, it's like almost like their Sifus don't understand. They don't understand the complete system. So what's the point of me being a part of another lineage where I'm not going to understand that my Sifu understands a complete system, where it's just, bull, it's like, well, why am I here for if I can't absorb the correct methodology and the understanding of a complete system? So I don't want to go in there. I don't want to go and eat a Wagyu steak that's actually not a Wagyu steak. I want to go and eat a Wagyu steak I know about what I'm eating. and where it's grown from and where it's from and where its family history's from, and come from here and there. It's like I'm wasting my time. I know that's a big thing to say, but I'm not going to go and learn another style of martial arts where the Sifu's become a Sifu online within 5 years and he's never touched hands and he doesn't even know who his grandmaster was in any temples they were from. So I find it, fascinating.
Yeah, we can take that a step further in the sense that, like, I look at that in two ways, right? One is I try to remember that everybody's a student, everybody's a student. So, I do not have all the answers, Shigang Thomas Rizzo doesn't have all the answers. Grandmaster Doo Wai is going to be the closest to having all the answers, but he may not have all the answers. Like the reality is we're all students and we're always continuing to work on our art and to develop in that sense. And to touch on what you were talking about, yeah, there are people that are, I would say there's no curriculum in place, right? So if the curriculum is not in place, if it's not thought far enough in advance, and there's not a particular grading criteria, right, then it becomes hard to say how you promote somebody to a black sash, let alone a Sifu level, right? Sifu means teacher, right? So that means I need to be able to instruct that. That means I need to have a knowledge base in I need to have the deepest knowledge base I can in what it is that I'm trying to teach, right? I need to be able to know the application inside and out. I need to know appropriate trajectory and lines of strikes and blocks, within forms. I need to have practiced all of these things for more than 10,000 hours. I need to have touched hands with, 10,000 different people so in that sense, like, we're all students, we're all learning, but yeah, some people have no curriculum around what it is that they're doing and no structured guidelines to what it is or criteria that they base their promotions off of, and I think that's important. That helps you standardize what a person's learning. If you learn from Sifu Dane, that's a direct lineage from me, right? Like, I know what you're learning when you're working with Sifu Dane. If I see you have a purple sash on and you call my school in Los Angeles or any of our other affiliate schools or any Sifu under me or any black sash or Joe Gao under me, right? Or under, my brother or under the Grandmaster, like, I know what you're working on. I know exactly what technique you're trying to get. I know exactly, the methodology that you're being taught at that particular moment, so the standardization of it is really important.
It's all very nice, and the thing is too, like, less is more, I say. Like, over the years I've thought, oh my god, I've got so much going on here, but what really am I practicing if I've got so much going on? I'm actually practicing a bits and bits and bits and bits instead of just focusing on a few little things and focus that and get that down pat and never stop training that, because when you do that, it means that you're training it when you're not training it, if that makes sense. You're doing it when you're not doing it, I find.
Oh, I think Bruce said it best, right? He said, fear not the man that's practiced 10,000 kicks one time, but fear the man that's practiced one kick 10,000 times. So to be a master at something, to be a Sifu, to be a teacher, and to go a step further and to be a master instructor, like, not only do I need to understand the psychology of teaching, I need to understand, the curriculum to the highest degree possible. I need to know how to translate that to different body types, different ages, different mental capacities, right? Like, you have to be able to translate that information, and it's all systematized as well, right? So, like, I need to understand how I can adjust. If I teach Sifu Ronald something, I maybe have to teach Sifu Dane slightly different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then take that a step back and, like, what if I have a kids program and I'm trying to teach a 5-year-old, I'm trying to teach a 5-year-old Fubukyun, maybe that's the importance of standardization, is understanding that a 5-year-old can't work a form that's that long yet, right? They need they need small tiger exercise forms to build up their stamina to be able to do a 70, 80, 108 move form,
Yeah, 100%. Very much true. Very true.
What would you guys say about the key principles about the philosophy of White Tiger and the Bak Fu Pai? Yesterday I was reading the manual and I came across to the Fondo Dok, the school creed, which is beautiful. So I'm trying to memorize. But what would you say for those that does not understand the principles for the White Tiger and the principles for Bak Fu Pai for the White Eyebrow?
Well, I would say, there's different principles based on the different kind of areas of
Perspective.
Bak Fu Pai. Yeah, perspective areas of Bak Fu Pai, right? So, there's different fighting methodologies and different fighting principles, right? There's different Qigong principles. So, they're all over the place. But I would say let's see, how would I break down there's almost too many principles at that point. Like the question you're asking is something that takes, I don't know,
More
10 to 15 years, right, to kind of fully break down with a student. But yeah, there's principles for fighting application. There's principles in forms, right? There's principles in how to use Dita Jiao, how to make Dita Jiao, how to apply different herbs. There's principles for Qigong as well.
Well, that's pretty much the same thing as what I was going to say. Look, I'm very new to that as well. And may I treat this Bak Fu Pai, you know what I mean? Like it's I'm really I know my little substance so well, that's just I do that with my eyes closed, and I've resignated that. But I've just all I learned with that side of things is to, use the right do the right qigong to make sure you're healing your internal organs properly. We'll obviously do the right. So if you need a rest day, you do your qigong every day, regardless. I pretty much just live by the same code, the creed that we do with the Bak Fu Pai school, underneath that umbrella, so I don't change anything. I stick to everything now exactly the way the White Tiger School runs and I run, and I don't change any methodology at all, anything at all. When it comes to my buck, mate, it's all from the king of the Bak Fu Pai, so to speak. So I've got my methods, and then my students have got their methods within their manual training, and then within the Bak Mei system, there's not much difference between anything except our hands chung choice from here as opposed to a little bit lower. But other than that, there's a few fists that change within the system. But the family and the mindset and the intent is Bak Fu Pai the whole way, and all it is just different forms, different angles. But the same intent and love for that art. That's all I can really say for that. We have a qigong that we use when in the Bak Mei system that I got taught, where they'll do the Red Dragon qigong when they're on Yum Yum Jik Bo Kun, because they're releasing a little bit more shock out, a little bit more of an advanced form, and then they have to do that so they're actually looking after their body in that manner. But by saying that, I really don't teach Bak Mei as much anymore at all. I just only teach Bak Fu Pai. That's what I want to build within the world now, 100%.
Beautiful, outstanding. What would you guys say is the most challenging elements to learn into the White Tiger system and the Bak Mei system?
The most challenging part of our system?
Turning.
I think that's kind of student based, so different people have different limitations, right? Whether they're real or not in their mind or physical, so I think that those limitations come down to the individual. I don't necessarily think that there's one particular part of anything. Well, I mean, I guess I could say discipline. I would say that the overall lining thing of most people as practitioners that I see is the hardest thing is to develop discipline. Discipline is different than motivation, right? In the sense that discipline is doing the thing every day that needs to be done, right? Whether I want to or not. Motivation comes and goes. So having discipline in our life is far more important than motivation.
Yeah, exactly right. Achieving for them to see that and see the big picture ahead, and then for them to train hard and to see the changes within their body, to see what happens within the system. They say that what 5,000 students it takes to become, you've got to live and breathe it. The hardest thing is it's not hard for me because I'm doing that and I'll forever do that. It's just the hardest thing is having students to understand that, just do the work. Proof is in the results. You know, and if it's not working for you, man, like I can't bend your arm and break your arm for it. You know, you've got to believe in yourself. You got to understand in the pie. You got to understand who you are as a person, and then you've just got to move on and believe in that. Be a better person every day. Be kind. Learn your creed of what we're about. Be happy to be a part of a family. That's what I say, and that's the hardest hurdle I find is. These people have got other issues in their life and they can't condense it down and be happy. And look, I'm not here to say I'm holding on to you, but what I'm trying to say is I'm giving you an opportunity. And that opportunity is that it's either you see that opportunity and you grab it and you work hard for it, absolutely hard for it, and then you'll see the results. Some people fall off the ladder, but then they come back, and they're the ones that keep coming back that are going to do well, you know?
That's impressive because I 100% agree with you, both of you. I think discipline is one of the things that it's hard because it comes from ourselves. So as Sifu Dane was telling, he cannot just bend your arm and just do things for you. You got to put your work on. You got to do your hard work, do your forms practice, do your meditations, do your conditioning exercise so you can build the strength and you can actually in the future represent if you want to represent or become an instructor or become just a good martial artist. And it's a fight against our own selves, and I think this is really really interesting because I normally tell people it's kind of easy to fight against someone else, but it's hard to fight against yourself because sometimes we will have to put our desires on the side. Oh man, I want to go party, I want to go do this, I want to go do that, but people, they put the most important things to the side instead of just doing whatever is important to that moment.
Yeah, you could take that a step further as well, and you can say that like the person that you're fighting or the person that you're training against or the person that you're sparring, you're really not even sparring them. You're really still only fighting yourself, right? It's the point of applying your technique and your strategy and your understanding of the art against another human being. There's counter techniques off of that, but again, that's you trying to apply something to them. So.
Well, I think it's fascinating. We've got such beautiful meditations within this system. A lot of systems in this, a lot of systems don't have meditations, and it's like, whoa, man! So I find it fascinating that we have that, and I'm blessed for it. And I've got to go to work, eh?
That's right.
All right, I've actually got to go. Wife, get ready.
Thank you very much.
Should we do a part 2?
Absolutely, we can schedule part 2. So thank you guys for staying here, for watching our podcast, for watching this episode. I want to thank Sifu Dennis Wood, and I want to thank Sifu Sifu Dane. I apologize for participating, and let's maybe reschedule another episode. Thank you also for watching this episode and for listening on Spotify. If you guys want to give another, just a couple minutes final consideration, something you guys want to tell before leaving, feel free to do so.
Oh yeah, I would say just find an art that you enjoy and a Sifu that you can that you learn from well, right? That you understand their teaching and their methodologies and stick with it, and show some discipline and set a goal for yourself, so when you first start, have a goal, have an intermediary goal, and then have a long-term goal.
Absolutely. And you, Sifu Dane?
Yeah. I just want to say, be kind, be humble, be happy we're alive on this awesome planet. I just want to say, learn as much as you can of each other and communicate with all schools worldwide, because all martial started from the Shaolin Temple.
Absolutely.
So we're all family. We shouldn't be fighting each other online. We should be bringing all the martials together. So all I say is just have fun, smile. We were alive. There are a lot more worse people off, in hospital beds right now. Everyone worries about who's going to be the best and who has all this knowledge and all this crap. It's like, how about you just train yourself and absorb something good for yourself, and then just make that day every day a new day. That's all I say.
Outstanding. So all the information, if you want to practice Bak Mei or Bak Fu Pai, the information is going to be in the subscription of we're going to be on the header of the video. So if you go ahead, and there will be their contact information website. social medias platform, Instagram, TikTok. So if you want to practice, get in touch with them, and they will be able to guide you under their online programs as well. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for participating, and I hope you guys have a
Thank you
wonderful
very
day.
much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.